Hey guys, what is going on, Rush here, and welcome back to another episode of Cards and Castles Cast and Conflicts. Got a good one set up for you today as Jump takes on vesaven. Um, and yeah, I don't really think I have much more of an intro than that, so let's go ahead and jump right into gameplay right now. Alright folks, so welcome back. We've got Jump taking on vesaven here. It looks to be a Pirate Warlock taking on Druid Warlock. Both Warlocks. What are your thoughts on this one, Slash?
I think it's kind of questionable whether you replace the fear there. I don't think that Jump knows what deck this is,
Okay.
just because I would have kept the fear just because it's such a good card for pushing back those lifesteal units. I
Right.
think he's gonna have a very difficult matchup here. For those who don't know, Vesaven's running a Druid lifesteal slash buffs with three copies of
Vampire.
Call for Aid.
Call for Aid or Drain Life?
He runs Drain Life and Call for Aid.
Oh, Call for Aid's in there now. Cool. I didn't know that. But we'll see Jump respond, or at least open up with a Lumberjack. Vesa respond with the Questing Knight. Jump goes for the Hobble. Pretty standard stuff. Nothing to really, noteworthy here, I would say. Curious to see how Jump's going to be able to deal with these big lifesteal units. We see he's got Cannoneer in his hand, which is a nice way of dealing damage from afar, of course, preventing that lifesteal from occurring. So I'm thinking Cannoneer is going to be some kind of lifeline for him in this match. What are your thoughts on that?
We start to see some burn come out. I think that's very actually good for Jump because then it means that he's probably going to meddle into white here, and but that later on stuff like Armory or Southport Cannoneer won't just get burned off as easily.
Very
I'm
true.
expecting some burn here also if Vesaven has any to go directly onto that lifesteal because it could be a very big issue for him later game.
Instead, it goes for the Dark Bender. Okay, that's fair. Creating a, I guess, somewhat of an answer to this White Knight as to, I guess maybe threaten Jump not to push it. Also retreats the Lumberjack back, of course, not going to waste the unit just for the draw. That seems fair. So for now, Jump's would go into the Armory. I assume it's pretty much, I think, the only thing. I mean, he could Southport here, but I think Armory might be a little better for
Uh,
him.
I think if he knew what deck this was, he would have played Southport into Arcanon, Lord of Chaos, simply because then all of those buff cards can't simply go on the any big units for the 2-turn kill potential that Vesaven has here.
Right. I don't think he's going to throw all the buffs, though, immediately onto Dark Bender when he's got things like Vampire, though. I think he usually tends to save the buffs for when he's actually on face or can threaten face. At least that's what I've noticed from the deck. Things like if Vampire can get a hit on the castle, he'll usually get a buff. Same with the companions in the deck. So I think he's going to try and save those for when he can create these big bursts of damage. But anyway, now we'll see a Wizard. So another range unit for Vasa's side, threatening Darkbender. So Darkbender, like I mentioned, could be getting those buffs soon because he does have that ability to hit face on the next turn. So I'm curious to see where that goes. And Jump doesn't really have a whole lot of answers here. I would assume this would be a good Southport time to create that Arcanon like you were saying. I mean, I think he might need that if he wants to get out of the match. Or at least if he wants to continue this match, maybe.
I think the fact that Vesaven stacked his units there instead of playing Lumberjack, I know for me that'd be kind of scary seeing the red in there because then if you're looking at it, he could throw next turn he could throw +4 damage onto that Darkbender, Demonic Rage it, and you'd be down to 1 HP on your castle.
Do we know that Demonic is in this list?
I talked to Vesaven multiple times about putting it in, and he said he would try it out. I've not seen this deck on TV though since he said that, so who knows?
Yeah, because I was gonna say, like, when I saw him running it in the TV, obviously did not have the Demonic Rage, but it would be really interesting to kind of see that switch and see if that actually makes a big difference here. But we will see Jump go for the Southport and Elvish Thief, of course, keeping them back. We probably will expect to see maybe an Arcanon in the next turn. Blue Firebolt, though, hits the Armory, so there goes a little bit of Jump's, what would you call it? Evening tool
Backline.
back, well, obviously backline, but I mean, like, it was giving Jump somewhat of a edge in the stalemate, I think, because he was, had those buff units, but now losing that edge to Blue Fireball. I think now he's going to go for the Cannoneer, which is questionable. I would still say go Arcanon, but I mean, Cannoneer is going to probably be the response here for these range units. How do you feel about Cannoneer instead of Arcanon?
I think it's probably going to be killed off by his buff Centaur. I think that would be a good thing though for Jump, just because he'd be forcing those buffs out of Vesaven's hand. We haven't seen any lifesteal units yet for him, which is the biggest threat in my opinion in this deck. So as long as he's forcing buffs out of the hand without any lifesteal on the board, it's a good situation to be in.
Right, right. Things like I
The
think Vampire. I don't think he runs White Knight though, right?
I don't.
No, he does. I think he
He
does.
does. Yeah, he.
Yeah.
I know he runs at least two. I couldn't tell you beyond that.
Right, right. So it looks like to be forming a barrier in front of Castle here with the units. You got Thief, Captain, White, all slowly trying to make an advance here. Big Dragon's Fire, though, going to eliminate the Thief and Captain. Wizard comes in, trades with the Cannoneer, and that leaves Darkbender to maybe take out the White Knight, I think, even though, I
That
mean,
would
that
be a
wouldn't be...
blunder.
Would be a blunder. Would be a blunder, yes. But, I mean, we know Vase is an aggressive player. It looks like he doesn't go for it, though, which is, very good. Instead, piling the Lumberjack in front of the Darkbender here, leaving Jump the opportunity to kill off Lumberjack. And now I think, were we going to see Arcanon? I'm kind of just waiting for him to play it at this point. Instead, thinking about a Lumberjack play. I mean, okay. No, Lumberjack Armory. English is difficult. Sorry. Um,
Words are hard.
thanks, words are hard. But of course, then go advance this Lumberjack. Maybe hope to bait out Darkbender a little bit. Where do you see Jump going, though, from here? I mean, that was a big Dragon's Fire.
I haven't seen any sacrifice cards yet, but I would assume there are some because of Arcanon.
Right.
I personally would have feared back the Darkbender at this point, just so that way I'd be creating space on the board. Um, yeah, he's thinking about it. Yeah, he
Yeah, he
does it,
goes for
and
it.
you pull that draw. I think that it's going to be very difficult for Vesaven to find an answer to Arcanon if Jump has double armory on it and there's no Darkbender on the board, which is a very good possibility with something like Mercenary's Execution.
He would have to play the
Or
execution before Arcanon, though, if that was the case. But Centaur coming in, wiping out one of those armories, that makes the Lumberjacks more tradable. Jump does pull an Elvish Thief off of that, which could be actually a great trade for him on that Centaur up there. And then we do see a White Knight, so Vesa, does run white in here. Fantastic, I guess, for us. Or
there's that
we
Arcanon.
could see Arcanon. Arcanon's lifesteal could just zap away the Centaur with no harm to him as well. Definitely a factor there. I would just think if Elvish Thief could be played, he would have had a little more to do. Maybe bait out another burn or two, but Arcanon also works here. You lifesteal the
I
Centaur and you disrupt the spells.
I especially like Arcanon because then while Drain Life is good, it's not as good while cards like any buffs are just not good for Vesaven at this point. And you can see that Jump has no singular unit buff. It's
Right.
just so good with messing with the flow of the game.
Exactly. So now we see a Mordok of Jump's own in hand, not being played yet. He does have options for this, but that Mordok will be coming in, I think, regardless. So he does need some kind of defense against it. I don't recommend Mordok because a Darkbender could easily, get a small buff or, something of like that. I mean, I don't know if he runs Armory or Blacksmith. I know Vase is not the type of player to throw those in all the time, so curious if he's got any sort of that buffs like that. But in the meantime, we'll see a Racking Armory play, it looks like, as the go-to defense. Um, which is, I think, fine by me. I don't really see too much. He could also play an Elvish Thief if he really wants to, but I don't think he plays. I think he holds
It,
them.
I think the longer this match goes, the better Jump will get.
Right.
Um, there is still that instant end game potential though with buffs.
Yeah, and I think this
I
Arcanon's going to be Vase's real target. If anything, eliminate the Arcanon is probably what he's thinking.
It completely depends on what's sitting on in his hand.
Right, we don't see
If
it.
Yeah, if he had a Dragon's Fire, I mean that'd be ideal in this situation.
Oh, would
But I
clear
doubt he
pretty much the
does.
board. Yeah. Clear the board, weaken Arcanon. Looks like not going to be the play, though. Instead, Rat trading for the Wraith, which is the good pull there. It gets rid of the Armory. And there goes the last of Jump's armories, I believe, right? We've seen all three.
Yep.
Yeah, so now Jump left at that minor disadvantage there against these units. Of course, Darkbender doing away with the Rat King, and White Knight looking to advance, as well as a Wizard. Okay. And yeah, I think a lot of those remaining cards in Vase's hand have to be some kind of buff or spell related. Or I guess Wizard's going to prove me wrong in that. But yeah, oh, okay, he's going to
I
prove me wrong
dislike
entirely.
I dislike how much Vesaven is playing right now, just because he's showing his hand to Jump. I think Jump can start abusing that knowledge.
Oof. Does pull a second Wraith off the Mordok, though, which is not going to be easy for Jump to get rid of right away. He can do a Mordok Arcanon combination to get rid of one of these Wraith, and actually retreating the Arcanon form in the back there to avoid this upcoming threat. We'll see Robins come in, alright, do a little bit of work there. Still leaves one of the Wraiths, though. But I mean, that's sort of, I think, the least of his worries. He's got at least 3 different range units to contend with, and not a whole lot in hand to help him. I mean, what do you think Jump needs to turn this game around? I would think some kind of, removal. Daggerstorm would be ideal if he can hit some units, but yeah, I'm not
The
seeing a median out for him.
I think the issue Jump should be more concerned about is actually his time. He's already down 1 time increment. This could get very, very fast if he allows himself to keep on losing time. Additionally, though, I don't think that Vesaven can really push, at least push lethally. He can get initial damage off, but when it comes down to double draw, Jump should just be favored in this position.
So we will see the Wraith take out the White Knight. Okay, seems fair. Another one taking out the front Rat. Are we going to start pushing these range units is the question? Oh, nope, there's Vampire instead, at least initially.
And he
Lumberjack
has
as
no
well.
buffs right now.
No, yeah, that's it. He dumped his hand. Everything currently on board is what Vase is going to rock with here. And if Jump can't eliminate this, he's in a good position.
Looking at this, though, this doesn't seem to be a lethal combination. There's nothing that's... Oh, and that Blacksmith Rat King just got so much value for him.
Oh, of course.
Those rats will do 1 damage to the White Knights now. They allow so much cleanup. 1 rat plus Arcanon cleans up a knight.
And
Mordok.
he has enough for a Mordok too, which can easily take out one of those back wizards if he's smart about it. Unless you don't want to push the Mordok too far, to which he'd be taken out completely by range.
He needs to play faster here, though.
He
He's starting to
does.
run on time, and he needs to play Rat King. He needs to play Mordok. He needs to play Elvish Thief even.
We could just
He
see a
needs to
hand
not play
dump
that in
on
the
both
center. He needs to hit
players.
that bottom white.
See, there goes Mordok. Mordok generates a horseman. We'll take out the wizard. He can do that for sure. And there's
He has,
time, like you said, and he's got to move. He's gonna allow these white knights
he
to stay on
even
board.
here he's still in a good position.
Right. Yeah, he's gonna play the Rat King and let time expire on that one. So he could have probably taken out at least one of the white knights, but like you said, time is gonna be a big, big factor for him moving forward because he's just letting the time go
The
on each turn.
the other issue he's about to run into is he can't let time go again. If he does, he surrenders.
Oh, right. Is he that far?
He's had 2 increments now.
Oh, shit. So yeah, that's gonna mean his next time to 0, his countdown, will actually be a surrender then.
Oh, and Vesaven is top deck to Mordok.
Uh-oh. I mean, there are some
It's
things you
not the
can do
worst.
here. I mean, when I'm looking at it, Arcanon could trade with the Vampire, or Mordok's gonna do that. Brings out a Banshee, which cleans up the Wizard. Fair. He's not going to be able to do much with the Cannoneer right away.
It does prevent any pushing from that Mordock.
I
But
think
there's not going to be any lethal combos like putting scope or any range on it.
he can take out both of these White Knights. I don't think he understands or sees the order. And that wasn't it. So he's going to risk keeping the White Knight on face, it looks like, because not all those
That
rats are going to be able
that
to hit
White
him.
Knight's only 2 damage, so it's not too terribly scary.
No, but I mean, we do understand that he does run buffs in here. Obviously, Blessing is in here, Drain Life is in here. There is that potential for him to get scary real fast. So it's
Yeah.
not so much of a detriment as he's running a risk that could have been unnecessary if he had played
Will
properly
this be the
there.
game right here?
Exactly. We might be.
Oh no, I was looking at time.
Oh, yeah, that too. It could be. It could be. Depending on how he plays it. Obviously, he
It's
still
about,
can't fully use spells yet because of Arcanon's presence, so perhaps that's going to hold him back
I
from
think he's going to kill
cleaning
off
up the
Archon
game.
this turn, though.
I mean, he has to push the Darkbender first. Yep, and there it
That's
is.
incorrect. He should have hit a rat. He would
Alright,
have
so
maintained his, unless he has lethal here.
Flamestorm doesn't even. Okay, that was his answer for the rats. Oh, and the
And
Vanishing
Vanishing Strike.
Strike. Oh, that's going to do it.
He does have lethal.
Yeah, the Vanishing Strike helped him. If not, he would have been very close anyway. So yeah, that will be the game. Overall, very interesting. I mean, obviously, no stranger to that Warlock Druid deck personally, but yeah, I. What were your thoughts on that? Because I'm still trying to think about how that maybe could have gone differently for Jump, but I mean,
I think Jump's big issue is he's playing too much Legends of Runeterra and not enough Cards and Castles.
oh
That being understood, though,
shit.
I can't complain that Jump's still with us in the community.
Very true. So, with that being said, let's go ahead, jump to both of our players, and see how they're feeling after a hard-fought match one. So,
Jump, you were 6 seconds away from dying to the clock.
Yeah,
everyone's biggest enemy is the
yeah,
clock, not the opponents.
yeah. It's trickier when you don't practice as much, but
Yeah. At the same time, you have an actual tournament tomorrow, so
yeah, I'm have an actual chance of winning money.
Oh, jeez. Make us feel good, why don't you? But
Okay.
yeah, going into that match specifically, I mean, we noticed that a lot of your armories got cut off, and you just had a lot of thought going down the moves. What were you expecting from Vesa?
Um, I don't know. I really uh needed to get the upper hand early that game, and I think I just didn't quite get a hold of it, and since I lost control, I wasn't able to regain it due to his ranged units and the fear of that rampaging ranged unit. Yeah, couldn't really position it in a way that would allow me to uh, gain the advantage back.
Right, right. And
yeah.
going over to Vesa's side, though, because I did want to ask him, there was a moment, or at least the presence of Arcanon might have been problematic for your deck, considering you played cards like Drain Life and Blessing. So, what did you feel when you found the Lord of Chaos on the opposite side?
I definitely knew that was going to be a problem unit, and I was just trying to put him into a position where he had to sacrifice his Arcanon, and I knew that was kind of a win condition for me. And fortunately, you know, I was able to get to a board position where he had to move his Arcanon up, and I was able, to take him out, because I think that if his Arcanon is able to stay on the board and he can keep that position where he doesn't have to push him forward, then I think that I wouldn't have been able to come across with the W on that one.
Right, right. And I certainly think it worked out for you in the end. I mean, we saw Arcanon come out, and you responded by well, not immediately responded to, but you eventually kind of just dumped all the units and said, "Here, have it." So yeah, that was kind of interesting, at least from our perspective. You didn't. We realized you didn't really have any of those buff spells. Instead, you just kind of threw a lot of things like the 2 white knights, the vampire, all the range. And you just said, "Here, take it." So.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I just was trying to kind of read the board and the number of cards in his hand, and I tried to pick the right position to push. And fortunately for me, I was able to pick the right point and was able to come away with the victory on that one.
Well, sounds good. Slash, do you have anything before we jump into the next one?
Well played by both of you guys.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
a great
well
game.
done.
Good game, man. Yeah,
Good game.
well
Well
done.
played.
All right, so with that being said, let's jump into match number 2 and see what happens. All right, boys and girls, so jumping into match number 2 now, we're going to see Jump take the Viking Druid approach as a response to the Warlock Druid. What do you think Jump's got up his sleeve for this one?
I think he's gonna have freeze. I think he's gonna have basically freeze and then companion, which is should be pretty hard counter for the big buff units and for range.
Right. Well, we're going to see the game start off pretty much similar to how it did last time. A Lumberjack and a Questing Knight on opposite sides here, except this time going to have a response of a second Lumberjack, potentially. Yep, that is the play here, and we'll see if Vesa takes face or goes and stays back to clean up. Knowing his deck, it would be beneficial to maybe go face. And yep, that's going to be the option here. You're going to go punch for 3, Dwarven Miner comes out, cleans up one of those Lumberjacks, and I think Vesa's already in a pretty good spot here to start off this match.
I'm curious of Jump's decision not to block earlier on.
Right, instead going for the face.
Yeah, because that 2 damage really is just never worth it.
Alright, so we're going to see the Witch Bolt take out another big card for Jump. Last time taking out the Hovel, this time... Alright, did it take out the Hovel or did it take out the Armory?
I took out Hovel and took out.
Right, okay, so regardless, it does clean up the Wizard. Jump goes for a potential Master at Arms here, which is going to clean up the Questing Knight at a heavy cost.
I think that's incorrect.
I mean, he loses a lot of value.
Freezing Pillar, blocking face was correct, and then he plays Master at Arms.
Well, here we really see what Vesa's deck is capable of, just smacking face at, for big values here. Already bringing Jump down to 7 health, and I think he's debating whether he goes Rat King or Master here. I mean, Rat King would be more efficient. It does clean up the Dwarven Miner and allows you to keep a rat.
I can tell you Rat King is the correct play there.
Yeah, it is. So we'll see Rat King trade most of the rats. One does survive and lives his best life. And I think he might be in an okay position. I mean, Vesa not having that second unit push behind the miner is a little problematic. I mean, I think his deck would like to keep some kind of pressure up. And we do see an armory for Jump, which, okay,
the issue he's about to run into is that 1 Centaur plus a couple buffs or Centaur plus Drain Life can just kill him.
Right. You think that is the play here? Spawn the... Oh, never mind. Blue Fire kind of shuts that down. But I mean, it could have been Centaur, kill off the Lumberjack, Drain Life, and that's the win, as you mentioned. But obviously not going to be the play here, giving Jump some time to set up, considering that Vesa didn't play anything additionally on top of the Blue Fire.
The issue that Jump's really going to run into is that he has to make sure he always has board control because of how low his castle health is. Right. That early game of not blocking castle and being aggressive has really cost him any positioning that he could have later on.
Right.
I think Temple Bestial Rage could be very deadly here.
Could be. We do lose the Armory. White Knight does not actually make the advance just yet.
I think Mordark now is the correct play now that he's actually gotten rid of that, simply because it prevents any shenanigans from happening where your wizard gets killed off.
I do agree there. Mordok is the correct play here. Threatens castle right there, and Vesa a little out of position to block that as not moving the white knight. Fear comes out though, going to be a good push cycle for Vesa. We'll see if he top decks anything useful off of that eventually. It's going to be a Dragon's Fire. Alright.
We could see a Flamestorm next turn.
We definitely could. Yeah. Is an option here. Looks like
I
we're
would
gonna...
Temple Centaur hit face twice here.
So
I don't think Jump will, though. I think he's more of a
Temple.
passive player right now, though.
Certainly, yeah. That just fits his style a bit more better, I think. But I mean, at least the time is not hurting him, though, unlike last match. And we do see he's got a lot of freeze cards he's starting to pile up on. 2 pillars, a cloak. There is Centaur, cleans up the wizard. And
There's Call for
there
Aid.
is Call. So not only does he have this board to worry about, but 2 more big boys in the back. Master is going to help actually clean up this board. Master hits Centaur, gives Mordok enough attack to kill off the White Knight and generate a new unit.
I don't think that the Call for Aid's really going to be too scary for Jump because of how much freeze he does currently have in hand.
Right. Right. I mean, it's just more bodies to deal with, because Rangers are nothing to laugh at 7-8.
Absolutely.
So I do want to see this Master play resolved, though, because I do
Do you-
think that's Jump's best.
Do you think he
fear.
gambles playing Centaur? No, he doesn't play it early. I was thinking possibly gamble Centaur early into something like hoping you get the buff so you can hit face then with Mordok. I think he should Centaur here.
Doesn't end up moving the Centaur. Again, that's probably because it's the only unit left in hand. Everything else is on the board. And we do see one of those Rangers come out now. I mean, one of them's going to get cleaned up by Master potentially here. Does generate a Mystic Journey for Jump, and
That's so bad for vesaven.
yeah. Not
There's
what we
that
want to see.
Centaur.
He could do a cheeky pillar here. If he wants to. Swordsman, freezing pillar.
That's what I would do.
That sets him up real nice for Cleave on Castle. And with 7 health and not a lot of burn left in hand, I imagine that's going to be extremely problematic.
We have only seen 1/3 of his burn, though, I believe.
Well, we've seen a Witch Bolt, we've seen Blue Firebolt, we've seen Dragon's Fire in this match.
He still runs drain life. He still runs
Flamestorm.
yeah. And we've only seen one of each of those.
Right.
He needs to play Swordsman here.
He does. I think he's going to. But honestly, I don't know if that was the correct unit to bounce Pillar off of. I would have more liked to see Swordsman and Master at Arms in a reverse position. Swordsman taking the more aggressive stance because he'd be able to have a lot more value off of a cleave.
I understand why he's doing it, though. He's going to think Centaur's going to hit
Or picks up a big Bestial Rage Mordok. That is a little problematic. I mean, the Mordok will be trading wherever it hits. So does Vesa retreat the Mordok, or does he just go face? I see what Jump wants to do. He can easily pick up
I think he's going to hit Swordsman, and he's going to clean up Swordsman. Issue that is... Yeah, he found the line.
Yeah, there is going to be a little chain action there. Oh, and that's the worst to pick up, because there goes the Horseman. He did clear off the unit, though, which essentially I think he wanted to do. And there's the Rat King. Uh-oh.
And with freeze on it also, it's not going to be great. I mean, he doesn't even have to freeze here. He just kills the board.
Mm-hmm.
Do it, Jump. You can do it. That's correct.
Yes, the Mystic Journey Rat is what you want. Do it. I think he's just struggling on where to go. I mean, the bottom 2 rats obviously trade with the wizard. You can do a rat hit on the castle. The rest of the rats surround the castle, even if you're worried about a companion play. And he can even generate Centaur if he wants to do it for even more damage. So yeah, what do you think Vase's options here? I mean, obviously I think Flamestorm or Dragon's Fire would be big for him, but what if he doesn't have that? What do you think his play is?
He has to survive. I
Oh,
dislike this because it leaves him open for. And he didn't block because it leaves him open for companions.
yeah, this is problematic. I would have liked to see maybe that Centaur pick up a Bestial Rage, Poke Wizard, and Castle if he really was greedy about it.
Uh, that's probably.
There's the Wraith. Does that pick up a buff of any kind? I mean, Wizard's retreating. He only really needs, I think, 2 Blessings, which would be in his deck. Is it there? I don't think it's there. He's not pushing.
Yeah. If he has Bestial Rage, he clears the back.
So Wraith trading, and that's actually going to be...
Good game for jump.
Yeah. That'll pick him up the win. So the buff's not in the deck, or at least not in the hand. I mean, they're in the deck, but obviously not in the hand at that moment. Going to cost Vase a game 2 here, giving Jump a chance to jump back in it for game number 3. And obviously, I think that was a pretty good match.
Absolutely. That Banshee pull was crucial. I think Jump still could have had a very winnable position, even without that Mystic Journey being pulled.
Right.
But it would be a much harder road back in.
Exactly. I agree there. So I think with that being said, though, let's go ahead and jump back to our players and see how they're feeling after a very interesting game at number 2.
Games have completely different card draws. Like, well, last game too, but especially this one, you just drew all of your burn spells and none of the ranged units. It seemed that way from my end.
Yeah, that's definitely how it was. And I kind of had an aggressive hand. And I think maybe I overplayed it a little bit. But, you know, with the cards that I had, like, I felt like I just really needed to push at the beginning. And you were able to take control, you know, during the mid game. And then giving you that Mystic Journey. And then you lay down that Temple of the 5 Gods. And it was just too much for me to overcome. So, you know, it was a well-earned victory for you.
Well, I seem to jump in at the right time. Thank God I hit the recording button for that. So, I guess where do we start? It was a very interesting game here. I guess we'll start again on Jump side here because we want to ask him about the very early play that we thought was going to be problematic for him, and obviously the pushing of both Lumberjacks on face instead of defending. What was the mentality behind that?
Yeah, in hindsight, should have played a bit more defensively, but I just thought I could force him to defend. And knowing that he is playing a bunch of ranged units in that deck, I wanted to maintain the aggressive position early on. But he also had some early game cards and decided, okay, if we want to do a race to kill Castle, I can win this. And
I mean, it was very close.
So
we were waiting for
I
essentially a blessing of some kind or a drain life. Well, not a drain life, but essentially some kind of buff on that wraith to end game. But ultimately, I don't think it was in hand. I don't know what was in his hand at the very end there. But still, I mean,
it was a little bit closer than I wanted it to be.
But definitely, you know, normally this deck doesn't play out as aggressively as I tried to play it this game. But I think it was 2 questing knights early, you know, with the coin. And I kind of saw that and thought that I need to play this hand a little bit more aggressively. You know, but I ended up with just too many burn spells and too many buff spells, and I couldn't really back up my first wave with another second wave of units to kind of put it away. So he gained control and you know, got that temple down, and I just wasn't able to recover from that.
Right. We definitely saw the Mystic Journey as a big turning point. in the game.
I was surprised
Yeah,
when
I
you
knew
used. Go ahead. Sorry.
I knew as soon as I saw that Mystic Journey pop up that that could be a real big trouble card because I know, that he's probably running 3 Rat Kings, Um, so I just kind of had to hope that he wasn't, going to hit on his Rat King.
Right.
I was surprised when you
Fortunately
used
for
your
me, he
centaur
had
early
that
on.
comboed up with the temple, and that was just too much for me to overcome. He got a well deserved victory out of that one.
Slash, you can go now.
Okay. Yeah, we're having a bit of connection issue also. Vesaven, I was surprised you used a centaur and you didn't hit face with it. And I thought that with only 7 health left, you would have been looking to get some kind of buff and just hold buffs in hand until you have centaur.
Right. Well, I'd kind of used up all my buffs early game, and I think he had a unit in front of that wizard that I hit. And at that point in the game, I thought it was important to take out the wizard. It could have been a misplay. I'd have to go back and look at it. But at that point in the game, I just thought that it was important to go ahead and take out the wizard.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that from that perspective.
Yeah, like maybe if he didn't have another unit in front and was putting a little bit of pressure on me. Like I didn't want him to combo with that wizard onto something else and to knock out, what aggression I had. And I just thought it was important to go ahead and kill the wizard.
Absolutely.
Right. Right, I can agree with that. So, I guess with that being said, I think we have one more game to play now. Currently at a 1-1 here in the series. One more to see who will come out with a victory. So I would say let's jump into the matchup. Alright, and going into our final one, match number 3 here, we're going to see Jump bring back out that green Warlock he was working with earlier up against a green-blue from Vesa. Interesting. I don't think I've seen Vesa run these colors recently, so I'm curious to see what is in that hand of his. But ultimately, this opening hand for Jump is pretty nasty.
This is one of the worst mulligans I've ever seen. He replaced the fear and got 3/7 gold cards played.
Not what you're
I
looking
did
for when you mulligan, for sure.
for sure. Oh, looks like reanimate just from the guards here.
Potentially.
I really dislike the fact that he's been replacing fear and then he's been pushing lumberjack because it allows vesaven to get a better positioning on board early on, and that fear is still good just as a cycle card, or for example situations like this where you just need to have time to be able to play units, where you could have feared back that guard last turn so he couldn't have played so aggressively.
Right, well, now we're going to see a Dark Bender be thrown up in response as Jump's really second card played here, not having anything to play in the meantime, giving Vase the opportunity to potentially throw up some kind of offensive here. I mean, I don't know, maybe a freezing Pillar? I mean, knowing the hand of Jump, Pillar would be a pain in the ass right about now, but not something he couldn't deal with. Instead, we're going to see an Armory, chop away a bit of the Dark Bender there. 3 more in Castle, and Vase is in immediate control of this match.
Yeah, that bad mulligan I think will set the tone for the rest of this match. I honestly I don't want to call it game here,
No.
but this will probably snowball very quickly just based on how poor Jump's hand is right now.
Right. I mean, the only thing that I could see him successfully doing is killing off a guard and bringing out that second Dark Bender to try and gain some board presence and maybe hold off Vesa from storming in. And then, of course, from there, he could build up into Cannoneer, Arcanon, etc. Try to get into those late game eventually. So yeah, sorry.
I think Arcanon would help him better here than Cannoneer would.
Well, I mean, like,
with the lifesteal.
Yeah, but I was just mentioning how we're gonna go 5 gold, 6 gold, 7. So I mean,
Mystic
Cannoneer would be
Journey?
to come first. Rat King plays
Mystic
very
Journey.
aggressively, and there is the Mystic Journey. I don't know if this is gonna be the writing on the wall already, but I mean, Jump lost both Dark Benders immediately out of the gate there, and now it's just gonna face a giant ass rat swarm. Swordsman would essentially clean this up, but Jump does not have a turn 4 or turn 5 play to really make things worth it. Elvish Thief way too late.
I think this is game regardless here. I don't see him having a way to block 12 damage on castle any longer.
Yeah, there's so many little guys out on the board that can just rush and hit from any direction, so blocking becomes impossible. And I think Jump's trying to look around to see if maybe he can hold off one specific unit to try and save himself. But no matter where you look, it's going to be a game over. And
Yeah, and just a
very quick one to end off game 3.
Just a very painful way to end out the series for him. Especially, no one likes bricking, especially in a match like this.
Exactly. So it looks like Jump's gonna throw out the respect. The writing is on the wall here, and Besa will pick up a series victory here, making it his second overall. Which good for him. But yeah, I definitely would have liked to see maybe a stronger match to close out the series.
It really doesn't show any of the counters or any of the ways you can do it when you brick like that, because you can brick like that with any deck. Just running 3 Mordocks just extremely full if you draw 3 Mordocks every time.
Right. So what do you say? How about now we go back to the players and see how they're feeling after probably the quickest game 3 we've had here on Casting Conflicts.
Absolutely. Jump, that did not look great for you. That mulligan really did not work in your favor.
No, I didn't get a good draw. I had about 5 cards that were above the cost that I could have played during any point in that game.
You mulliganed away a Mordock, and in turn you got back 3 7 gold cards.
Yep.
Essentially not what you want to see out of any mulligan.
Yeah, no, I think the lesson to be learned here is that, hey, you're going to have some bad luck, but it doesn't mean that the deck is necessarily bad or that you did anything wrong. There are just some games that are auto-win because of the draws, and some games that are auto-lose because of the draws. And overall, you shouldn't get discouraged when those ones happen. Or the opposite is true, too. You shouldn't get super hyped about a deck that wins 3 games in a row. You have to play out 20 games to see how good a deck really is.
Absolutely.
Well put.
What was your thought process, vesaven?
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like that Jump just didn't hit his luck with his mulligan, which, and I ended up with some pretty good cards and had a strong, first 5 turns. So, I was just pushing forward, trying to deal as much damage as I could. And it turns out that, he got unlucky and, caught some high cost cards that couldn't handle that early aggression. And that's just how it's going to go sometimes, So I got lucky on that one. My opponent, he mulliganed away and ended up with some bad cards, and that's just how it went.
Absolutely.
Now, a question I had for Vesa, he knew he was going up against the Pirate Warlock. What was the thought process behind bringing in that Viking Pirate, or at least what was the goal in order to counteract that deck?
Right. Well, I thought I was playing the Viking, or what was he, Druid Warlock or Druid Pirate?
Druid Viking.
Yeah. Okay. And then he changed it up to the Warlock deck. But the reason that I brought in the deck that I did, the Pirate Viking, was because he doesn't have Dragonfire. And that is that deck's biggest weakness. It has a very low curve. It does not run a lot of high toughness units. So it can swarm an opposing deck very easily, but it's very weak to Dragonfire. So if you're not playing a deck that runs Dragonfire, then I feel confident about the matchup because I know that I'm going to be able to throw so many units down, in an ideal hand. Like I can throw so many units down that there's a good chance that you might not be able to deal with it. So that's why I picked that deck.
Yeah, makes sense right there. I mean, you don't have the Dragon's Fire, you're going to be hurting, essentially, from what that sounds like.
Yeah, it's just another build upon kind of like a swarm theme among a couple of decks that I've developed, and that one might be, it's either the first or second best among the swarm theme decks that I've kind of been trying to develop. So as soon as I see, that there's not going to be Warlock involved, where there's Firestorm and Dragon's Breath or whatever, then I know I can throw those units out there and they're going to be safe. So that was my thought process behind the decision on that.
Right. Slash, do you have anything to add in general before I think I close this one out?
No, but it worked very well with you for the hand that Jump drew.
I mean, I think I caught the tail end of your guys' discussion about what he got from his mulligan. And, sometimes in a card game like this, you're just going to get unlucky like that. And like you said, that doesn't mean your deck's bad, and it doesn't mean you made incorrect mulligan decisions. It just means you got unlucky. So, and sometimes you're just going to lose a game because you got unlucky. And that's just part of it. You're going to lose games. But you just have to trust, if you build a good deck and you mulligan correctly, then those decisions are going to work out for you more often than they're not. But sometimes they're not.
Right. All right, and with that being said, folks, I think I'm going to send it off to my future self to close out the video. Good games to both, and yeah, we'll see what I have to say in the future. And with that being said, I hope you did enjoy this edition of Casting Convos. Let us know what you guys think of the matchup by leaving your thoughts down in the comment section below. And while you're down there, if you haven't done so already, be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it, share with friends, and of course subscribe if you are new or haven't done so already. It's the best way you can show us support here on the channel, just by subscribing and showing your support to help us grow. And with that being said, guys, that's going to do it for me for now. So until next time,